corner, what I'm looking for. Right to explain, hurting me where you play for ways. Still a lover, I no wonder. Have you asked yourself why you're looking for? Blue lights keep on shining. Oh, sweet girl, when my head keep dreaming about you, about you, about you. Quiet pain takes over my mind when I think of you. How you left me, I'm an answer to the coldness. It's what I'm looking for. Right to explain, hurting me where you play for ways. Still alive, I no wonder. Have you asked yourself why you're looking for? Blue lights keep on shining. Oh, sweet girls, what am I bed keep dreaming about you, about you, about you. The mission I finally discovered, and know you for a long, long time. You were a friend mistaken for a lover.
Hello guys, what's up? So it's Sunday. I'm going to analyze my game from yesterday, my game in the chess league, and I played against a very young boy. I'm not sure how old is he. Let me let me check out, because it's really young guy, maybe 10 years old. Hi Candela. So let me look for him. Cabanas Lopez. Is it Lopez? Yes. He's born in 2002. So he's 16 years old. No. It's this other guy. Yeah, I played against this. 2008, so he's 10 years old. So I played a 10 years old boy yesterday, and he made me sweat a lot. His rating is 1100, but I think he pretty much played like a 1700 or something like that. He played very, very well in the opening. He actually played very well in the middle game, but he played terrible in the end game, and that was my luck. Okay, so I'm going to go through the game. It was a really tough game for me. I was in bad shape the whole game. As you can see here, I didn't commit any major blunder and a couple of mistakes. My opponent made some blunders and mistakes, but I think most of them were in the endgame. Okay, so let's go through the game. I played with the black pieces, and my opponent played e4, knight f6, normal, knight f3, and I decided to go Benoni style, c5, because I still don't know whether he's going to choose a London system. Hi, Boraboy. Or if he wants a Benoni. I mean, I don't know. I like this, so let's see what happens. He plays c3, so he might try to go for a system like the London or the Collie. Otherwise, I mean, I would play, if he wants to play something theoretical, he can go for d5 for the Benoni, but he didn't go there, so c3 is low. Hey Boraboy, I remember you from last streams, I think. I might have played you maybe in the last stream. Okay, g6. Normal move, I want to develop, and if he goes for the London system, which I'm still not sure if he's going to go, then I will go with the King's Indian approach against that. Boraboy, I'm going to analyze the game. I can play with you after that, but now it's a stream for it's a regular stream I do every Sunday, analyzing the game on Saturday, so this stream is only to analyze the game. Okay, g6, and he plays e3 here, so he's playing not the London system but another system with the bishop behind the pawns. So okay, let's develop normally. Bishop d3. Here I played b6. The engine says it's inaccuracy, but I mean, it's okay, maybe it's not a system itself, but I think it's a normal way to develop. Yeah, of course d5 was normal, also castles. Anyway, b6, knight bd2, bishop b7, and he castles. He can try e4 first, but he decided to castle first, so I castled as well. And e4, okay, and here things start to get interesting. Here I decided to play something I've been playing a lot in Blitz, and my teammate, one of my teammates really criticized my choice here. He didn't want me to play with d5, he preferred something like d6, which is normal, but I've been playing this d5 idea a lot ultimately, so why not? The engine actually prefers to play d5 here. That's I think the best move in this position according to the engine. But I thought first I would like to trade here, so I did. I traded first and played d5, and my idea is now this pawn on d4 is going to be weak for the rest of the game. And since I'm playing a young boy, I want to create any sort of imbalance to at least have something to play for in the endgame. Of course, this is risky because I allow e5 and he can attack, which is what he did. But yeah, I needed to take risks because we're playing for the first place of the chess league. We were in third place before this run. Now we're in second place, but we're 1.5 points behind the first team. And in this chess league, all the points from all the boards count in the total score. So it's not just about winning the team, but also winning every board of the team. So I really needed to win this game. That's why I took some risks instead of going for a boring position. So I went here, and he of course played e5 to attack, and I played, which I thought was a good move, although the engine prefers knight e8. I played knight e4, and the idea from my point of view is I'm giving him space, I'm giving him attack, I'm giving him, attacking position because of the space, at the cost of maybe a weak pawn here. So what I want to do is trade pieces. I mean, I'm giving him space, but I want to trade pieces so that his space is going to be a problem for him when the pieces disappear. Anyway, my problem is after rook e1, which he played, because of course he doesn't want to take here. Well, actually this would be a blunder, and he doesn't want to give the bishop, even though he might maybe capture a pawn there. Yeah, no, that's not good for him. But of course rook e1, putting pressure here, almost forcing me to trade. But as I mentioned, I wanted to trade. Here I thought I could maybe sacrifice a pawn, something like queen d7, and if he wins the pawn, at least he gives up the bishop. I mean, he trades the bishop, and then after something like this, I can try to regain my pawn at some point, and yeah, I might have compensation here, but nothing more than that, I think. So I couldn't make any of that work, and I went for the trade. Yeah, instead of queen d7, I traded here. And yeah, after bishop takes d2, knight c6, starting to put pressure here. So I think the position is more or less equal, but of course it's more comfortable for white. White has more space, better pieces, good coordination, and some ideas to attack because of the space. On the other hand, if I survive, I might take this pawn at some point. However, my opponent decided to go all for the attack now, and instead of continuing with the normal developing plan, he decided to go knight g5, which is a good move, but it's really forcing the issue. The good news for me is, even though this is not great because of my d5 push, and even though some of my pieces are very away from the king, so not able to defend, at least I have good development myself. I'm one move away from connecting rooks as well as he is, and I don't have really great issues in that sense. However, as I mentioned, these pieces are very far from defending, and he has a lot of pieces which want to attack immediately. So with his last move, knight g5, my opponent is hinting at some sacrifices on h7, followed by queen h5 and stuff like that. He's hinting also at some sacrifices on f7. He's hinting at pushes like e6, you know, trying to make weaknesses around my king and start attacking, and also hinting moves like queen g4 to h4, rook e3 to h3, that sort of stuff, with these two bishops already prepared for the attack. So it's a risky position. I mean, it's a scary position, because he has a lot of stuff to attack against me, and he's also giving me a pawn. So should I take it or not? Oh, is that a follow? Ibim is now following. Oh, give me a sec, I need to open the Streamlabs dashboard because otherwise I don't notice the follows. I just watched it in the little screen in the Twitch dashboard. EVYM is following. Thank you, buddy. I hope you like the stream. Okay, so here I took a really risky decision, and I took the pawn. But yeah, the thing is, I didn't see anything better than that. That was the main thing. I was considering e6. I think e6 must be the best move here. You know, all his attacking ideas are related to my light squares, to weakening my light squares. So probably e6 is a solid approach to it. Yeah, yeah, I think e6 might be the best move, but I I calculated what happens after knight takes d4, and I thought I was surviving. So then I said, okay, let's take the pawn. And if I'm surviving, and after f5, what do you mean after f5? In which line? Here f5, you mean? Or maybe you mean f4 after e6, something like that, like this. I mean, I think e6 is more solid. Take and then f5. Okay, we'll go there. So okay, I think e6 is the more solid, probably the best move, because if he wants to ever break here, he needs to weaken a lot his king. Now I took, and I cannot play f5 next for a very simple reason, is that he now plays queen g4 as he did in the game, threatening my knight and also with ideas to attack. Queen g4 is by far the best move, and I thought he was going to do it, and he did it. But white had other options here after knight takes d4. He had this option of going e6, and then I thought I would go f5, and then maybe sack the exchange. I think this is probably good for me, but I also think this is probably great, because this pawn will fall anyway. But then I saw, okay, if he goes e6, I can even take here, because after this, yeah, I think this is a great position for me. I'm not sure how to continue. Maybe I can even take on b2 here, but I don't need to take that pawn. I think this is already good for me. So yeah, I wasn't scared of e6. I was scared of queen g4 as he did in the game. Also, here the sacrifices don't work, because yeah, it's a lot of material and I have a lot of time to defend here, queen e8 maybe. So the direct caveman approach doesn't work here. But okay, queen g4, good move, winning a tempo and attacking. And now I basically have two options: knight back to c6 or knight to e6. And why would I put red into that? And I think I did the best from a practical approach, although the engine says they're both the same evaluation, but they're so different between them that I took the human way, which is knight to e6. And I will explain what happens after knight c6. He just has an attack for free. I mean, I save my knight, but let's say he starts attacking. He can even start sacrificing stuff. I think I need to take with the rook. If I take with the king, I think he already attacks a lot. And if I take with the rook, then I probably have to sacrifice the rook, because I mean, if I try to save it, I'm probably lost here. So this is too scary to go with the knight to c6. This was too scary. So I went to e6, but I had planned knight e6. When I took on d4, I miscalculated. I miscalculated after queen g4, knight e6, knight takes e6. I thought I could go queen d7 here, which is a blunder. I thought I had this move to not give the pawn back on e6. But queen d7 is a huge blunder because of the very beautiful bishop f5 winning on the spot, and white white saves the piece because I cannot take it, and I cannot take this because of the mate on g7. So white's going to be a piece up after this beautiful bishop f5. Well, at least a piece up, because there's a lot of threads here. Yeah, so queen d7 is a bad move. But that being said, I think knight e6 is by far the best move, because as I mentioned, knight c6 gives him an attack for free. The engine says, okay, never mind, it's okay, knight c6 and we defend, but I'm not an engine, I cannot defend when all of my opponent's pieces are around my king. So knight e6 forces the trade of the knight, and that's the good news. And after knight takes e6, f takes e6, queen takes e6, my opponent took the pawn back, but rook f7, I think the game is more or less equal, but I'm relying on my passed pawn. That's all I got for this. It's a very risky approach from me, but at least I have some kind of unbalance here. And also he's not checkmating me, which is good. So yeah, we're approaching an endgame, which is where I expect to be able to perform better than a 10 years old boy. Not in the opening and the middle game, when he plays good chess as he did. So okay, my plan is basically to trade queens here, because this is a little bit annoying there, and also because it's a little bit trapped there. This queen only has the retreats to escape. So if I play queen c8, he cannot avoid the queen trade. If I play bishop c8 though, he has the c6 square, and then it's not so easy. But okay, queen c8 is my plan, and that's why I think he should have played rook c1 here. He didn't do it, but if he plays rook c1, okay, I can still try this, but he's not forced to take, and even he can try to prevent my rook c5 idea with b4. And what do I do here? I mean, I'm pinned, if I take, that's bad for me. I'm sort of tied here, and he has a lot of interesting ways to keep improving his position. So yeah, rook ac1 would be more uncomfortable for me. But he went rook e3, which I think is not good, and it allows me to bail out with my intended queen c8. Of course he has a threat, but yeah, of course I had the idea to trade queens anyway, so I went queen c8. He has to trade. He was thinking here for a while, which I didn't understand. And because there's basically no other move but taking the queen. He can't defend the queen. I mean, the only way would be queen h3, but then I take, and he has to take with the pawn to not to lose e5, so okay, he had to take. Takes, and okay, this was more or less my dream position, which was to reach an equal endgame with some pieces, rooks and pieces, some kind of unbalance, and a passed pawn. The problem is this passed pawn is never going to advance. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Still a lot of stuff must happen before this pawn starts marching. My opponent here went for a not so ambitious approach. He went rook to c1, and I thought he was trying to maybe play for a draw, because, well, in general I'm supposed you know, I have much more rating than him, so he might have thought that he was in a good position to start playing for the draw, because yeah, the position is really equal. So he played rook ac1. Okay, and here this was an interesting moment. I didn't have a clear plan, but I had here I had at least 5 alternatives that I was considering. One was well, the trade. I need to take that into account, and my idea was something like this. He has to defend, and then I don't want to take, but I wanted to just activate my king. And yeah, I don't know, would be a different game. Nothing wrong about it. Another idea was to play rook c5, because I would love him to take here and have another pawn. But of course, after b4, I should probably take on c1 anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Another idea was to force f3, but I wasn't sure if that was good for me or for him. I don't see, because of rook c7 now, I don't see anything better than going back to c8, so I didn't like that one. I was also considering, well, at some point I want to play d4, but I didn't see the proper timing. Was also considering something like this, and then he has to take here, otherwise I win a piece here. But okay, in the end I played rook f to f8, which is a little bit, well, I wouldn't say strange. It's sort of fighting to have control over the c5, the c file, even if he takes, which he did. But it has a threat, and the threat is bishop h6, basically. Let's say he does a stupid move, play bishop h6, now he's in trouble, because after this, as I mentioned, I win a piece there, and if he takes here, I take here, and he has back rank issues here. Let's say this is, of course, completely lost for him. So it's okay, rook f to f8 with the threat of bishop h6, but also with the idea to keep the control over the c file, even though it's not a great file. Okay, he traded. Sorry, not a3. Instead of a3, he made actually a good move. He traded, and here he played f4, freeing his rook from having to defend this pawn, and also pushing the majority. So good play by him. And I didn't like to play e6. I was kind of reserving that for the whole game, because the moment I play e6, I kill these two pieces. Like, I might have the plan to go there, and I might have the plan to reroute the bishop somewhere, but yeah, I thought I had to play e6 here, because this bishop is now doing nothing in this diagonal, so I need this diagonal, and also I need to prevent f5, I think. It's okay, I went e6, rook e1. He might have the idea to do more trades and draw, and here I miscalculated. I thought, okay, I played bishop f8, which I think is a good move, but I played it for a wrong reason, and the reason was I saw the line rook c1, bishop c1 check, king here, rook f8, or a5, a3, which happened in the game, rook f8, b4, takes, and I thought I could take here, takes, check, and takes, and I won a pawn. The problem is, then I saw, oopsie, rook c7, and this bishop is lost. So yeah, when I saw this bishop c5 check idea, was for this reason, and then I realized it's not working. It's go back here, bishop f8. Okay, but anyway, we followed the line. He played rook ac1, and I did the check because it's my only chance not to trade rooks. And if I trade rooks, I think it should be a draw. It doesn't matter the passed pawn. When both sides have the two bishops, it's going to be a draw. So I was desperate to keep the rooks. So I went into that line. I played a5 here to prevent b4. He played a3, and here I thought for a long time, because I saw that the variation with bishop takes b4 does not work. But I didn't see anything better than going rook f8 anyway. I considered some alternatives here. I considered a4 to prevent b4 and maybe try to distract this bishop somehow, like rook f8. Let's say, well, he can even take maybe. Takes, check here. And something like this maybe. But okay, he's not forced to take on a4. He's not forced even to play bishop here. The pawn is going to be there for a while, so I wasn't sure of that. I also considered g5 instead to sort of transpose into the game, but in a different way. Let's see if he gets confused. But yeah, it's probably too risky here. Check here, and I think bishop d4 here. No. I think I need to play rook f7 to prevent rook c7, and then the idea is bishop e4. Like here, takes. Here, to prevent the rook to go there, and also have this. Yeah, I was trying to assess this type of positions. I still think black has some compensation, but of course this is too risky and a pawn down. I didn't want any of that. So here I continue with rook f8. And who's Manner Monkey is in the chat. Cox Southford Kurtz has followed. Okay, thank you, buddy. Okay, rook f8, and here I thought he was going to go with b4, but he didn't. And my idea was to continue with takes, and instead of takes that I saw that doesn't work, I was going to go bishop d4 with this threat. So at least if he goes here, I can... Well, actually I was trying to make bishop a8 and bishop c8 work, but I think they don't work because of f5 at some point. So I think here I need to trade rooks, and it should probably be a draw. So I thought after b4 I cannot avoid the rook trade, but my opponent surprised me and went g3, which of course it's a solid move, but at least allows me to try to keep the rooks, which I did, although the engine doesn't like it. The engine wants me to play rook c8 actually. Yeah, he wants me to go back there and trade rooks, and because of course the position is bad for black, so the engine wants to go for the draw, which is, you know, trading rooks. But since I needed to win the game, I needed to keep the rooks, and I played rook f7 to prevent any rook c7 ideas. And here I thought he was going to play b4 anyway, and he didn't. And after takes, I was going to go to d4 anyway. But at least now he doesn't have this. That was my point with rook f7. But okay, he didn't play b4. He played king e2, which also makes sense, to remove himself from the pin, so that now g5 is not as strong. However, I played g5 here because I was thinking a lot here, I think. well, for 8 minutes, which in this game it was like a lot because it was a long game. So yeah, here I was trying to see any kind of plan, and I didn't come up with anything. Bishop d4 was the other logical choice now that rook c7 is not available, but I didn't see anything concrete. He can even play bishop c3 instead of b4, because b4 there might be some bishop b2 at some point, so I saw something like this, and this. Although, yeah, then I discovered with the engine the amazing rook b1 here, and if I take a pawn c3 he takes on b6, and his rook is much better than mine, or at least my king is much worse than his, so yeah, this does not work. So I played g5, and my point was well, first try and open the king side, maybe continue with rook g7, his rook cannot go to g1, but also maybe play g4 at some point, and after d4 I will have bishop f3 and, I don't know, start building some pressure, maybe h5, h4 later. So those were my two ideas with g5. And if he takes, he didn't take, and I think he cannot take. This is a bit risky for him, I think. And yeah, at least I have decent comp. Of course, he could have some rook c7 at some point, but maybe I trade rooks before that happens. I don't know. I think it's too risky for him to take. So what did he do here? Yeah, I expected something like b4 or f5. I think f5 was possible because even if I take here, he takes on g5, and then this is passed on e. But he played very passive. He played rook f1, losing control over the c file, and giving me, okay, not initiative, but at least more chances to survive. Okay, so I forced the issue a little, played bishop d4, he played bishop c3, which is actually the best move, although I expected b4. Bishop c3, and the point, I mean, I think he misplayed. How to say this? Okay, bishop c3 is the best move, but I think he made it not for the reason. I mean, it's the best move because of a reason that he didn't exploit, so I think he might have missed that. Bishop c3 is good because after takes, which happened in the game takes, even though this is terrible, which was in my favor, this is also terrible and easy to target now. But he didn't exploit that, so I was confused. After takes, I thought... Yeah, I thought if I go here, he can even take on g5, but even if he defends, what am I doing here? So I traded first, he took with the rook. I think he was going to go here, you know, to continue rook b1, and then maybe something like this. Hi, it chips. But he took with the rook, and now the rook can no longer target b6. So I was a little bit relieved here. I think the position is still great for white, but yeah, at least I'm you know, I'm having some, he's having some issues now. The engine still says this is like +1, still good for white, and the engine wants to trade rooks as previously to go for the draw, but as I mentioned, I needed to win this game. So basically here I have two choices, rook g7 or rook c7, and I went rook g7, and my idea was if I play rook c7, first of all he can just defend, and then what I'm doing here. And second, he can check me, and if I want to go here, he attacks h7, and I probably have nothing better than defend back and repeat. And I don't want to end the game in a repetition because I need to win this game. So I went rook g7, preventing the check, killing my king, yes, but still with some chances. This is still not a target. He needs to maneuver to attack it, but he didn't do it. He did actually the best move, which is king e3. So he has. Why did I require a win? Because this is a team competition, and we needed to win. This is a team competition where the score comes from the scores of all boards. So it's not only about winning the team encounter, it's also about winning the most points possible. We are now 1.5 points behind the leaders, even though we defeated them in our encounter with them, but we are 1.5 points behind them, 3 rounds to go, and yeah, we need to get as many points as possible. It's time to take risks, as I did in this game, to get the more points possible. So okay, after king e3, he has a very good position. I mean, he has active rook, great bishop, and great king. And I have a king that is cut, a rook that is strange, and a bishop that it's been blocked for the whole game. But my pawn structure is a little bit better than his because of these pawns. But yeah, I need to get some activity in my pieces at some point. So, okay, here after king e3 I went to bishop c6, preventing some, at least putting the bishop in a place where it can have access to other places. Bishop f1 he played, with the clear intention to start attacking my weakness on e6. I still think he had much better plan to attack my other weakness, which is very hard to defend for me, but okay, he went there. I went rook c7, ideas, of course. He went... No, he didn't go rook f6, I expected rook f6, but he went c4. I think if I'm white here, I would start attacking this pawn over here, and after this, something like, well, maybe this, no, maybe defend first this pawn. It would be nice to see a blunder like this, but okay, that wouldn't happen. Something like this, and maybe, I don't know, b5, maybe if he goes to h3, some rook c4. I'm in bad shape here, defending very passively a pawn, but at least holding. Anyway, here he went c4, which, I mean, it's not like playing for the win, it's more like playing for the draw, because he's seeking to trade pawns. But of course, it was annoying for me, because I didn't want the draw. So here I took some risks and went bishop e7, and after bishop h3 I played the only move, rook e7. Any other move loses, like on the spot. For example, if I take here, he can even take here because of the fork, or probably much better just to take immediately here and then take here, and this should be winning for white. And if I defend the pawn like this, okay, then I'm not sure, but even trading should be totally winning for white. So okay, rook e7 was the only move. And he played, what did he play? Rook f6, okay, which is good. Now the only move again I need to take here, and he played bishop takes e6 check. This was an interesting moment because I thought rook takes e6 was much better for him, because, you know, I cannot trade rooks and he's threatening b6, but the engine does not disagree with me. I mean, this is good for white, but it says it's almost the same as bishop takes e6. But I would be scared with white here. With black. My best chance, I guess, is... no, not that. My best chance, I guess, is to put the rook here and try to push this, but that pawn will not promote, I think. Yeah, how does he defend? Does he have to go here? Maybe. Okay, maybe that's good. I don't know. Or maybe he does have something stronger here. Stronger than rook takes b6, like going first with the king. I don't know, it was interesting, but I thought rook takes c6 was more scary for me, but he took with the bishop. And the problem for him now is after king g7, he does not want to take here. Which, by the way, I don't understand. I mean, if he wants to play for the draw, I know, of course he cannot take. He cannot take because, yeah, then I take the rook. Yeah, so that was my defense against bishop takes e4. So he went king d4 first, obviously, and now I defended the pawn. Still, I didn't count on winning this position, on winning. I think this should be a draw, or white should be for choice. I don't see these pawns going any further. I mean, he can play a4 at any point if he wants to start grabbing pawns. But from this point on, he misplayed terrible. Like terrible. He played the best move here. He played bishop f5. And now, once he moved the rook, I mean bishop f5, allowing him access to b6, which is a good place for the rook. And then he might start pushing his own passed pawn, and my pawns are very much controlled. So I played the only move I could play, rook c7, threatening to start pushing. And this is where things started to go all wrong for white. So I think this is an important lesson about activity in the endgame. If you look at this position and look at the position 10 moves later, you can see here active, 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 strong, passive and cut, passive, passive, not so strong. And if you see the position 10 moves from here, move 48, let's say, you see active, active, strong, passive, passive, not strong, not strong, not strong. So how did we go from there to here? With a lot of luck, I think. But we'll see. Let's go back to the position where I played rook to c7. I think by far the best move for white here would be rook b6. You know, active move, attacking. c3 is not an issue as long as you have your bishop there. You can always block with the bishop, and these pawns will not go any further. I probably have to play something like this, but then king can... Well, actually, this would be a... this could be an issue. Maybe he can... No, he cannot take. Okay, okay. Bishop c6 still trying to hold, but the pawns cannot be pushed. So yeah, I guess white is in good shape here. Okay, maybe not that. Maybe just... Something slow. Rook b8. Okay, still, I think he needs to go there. Actually, after this and this, he can even take here. Yeah, now I see. Yeah, he does not need to go bishop c2, because whenever I play there, he sacrifices the bishop, and he's winning. So okay, rook b6 should be the move here. But for some reason he was scared when I put the rook on c7. He was scared that I would start pushing, and he played king to c3. So that's... He had 3 active pieces. This is already a passive piece on c3. And also he allowed me to activate my rook in a very good position now. Rook to c5. Attacking here. The pawn cannot be pushed, it's tied to defending the rook. And he cannot go back with the king because of this check, and this pawn will fall. I mean, he cannot go here, I guess. At least I can win a pawn, at least. And probably I can even look for something stronger. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but this feels strong. I don't know. Anyway, here I only saw one way for white to keep pushing for an advantage, and I think that way would be to play rook b6, and after the bishop moves, I was going to put it there, to play rook e6. This would defend everything, and yeah, I cannot push, so he can still play on from here. I think white's still in good shape. And yeah, this move is required first, because if he plays rook e6 first, that would be a blunder. Rook e7 check, and he's losing at least the exchange. That's why I think he needed to play rook b6, and after the bishop moves, go to e6. I thought that was the best, to try and win with white. He didn't find that, and he went for rook d6, which is a good way to go for the draw anyway, because it's pretty much forcing the issue. Now if I take here, he's gonna check me, take my bishop, take on h7. It's gonna be 3 versus 3, a draw. Okay, I couldn't avoid it, so I went for it. And here he made an inaccuracy. I expected him to take on h7 with either piece, either this or this, with the idea that, okay, if I take his bishop, he takes my bishop, and he keeps b5 attacked. I think keeping b5 attacked is the easiest way not to lose this position, which should be a draw anyway, in several different ways. But yeah, why wouldn't you keep attacked b5 so that those pawns cannot advance? Instead, he took my bishop. So, okay, now it's risky for him. I took his bishop with the rook because I didn't want to have any rook h5 check after that, so I didn't want my king on f5. And here he committed a mistake to take the pawn. And I think here it's already risky for him, and he needs to realize that his last move was an inaccuracy, and here he needed to try to play for the draw a pawn down with something like king d4, for example, you know, activating his king, which is no longer required to block the pawn. And yeah, maybe, okay, he's gonna be a pawn down, but how does black make progress? It's not easy. As long as this is attacked, the rook cannot easily go for the attack itself without losing some pawns. This cannot advance, this cannot advance. So yeah, this is probably a draw. Of course, black still for choice, a pawn up, but probably a draw. But instead he took here, and now it starts getting risky for him because he's so passive now. Rook f3 check, he needs to defend the pawn, and before actually was very strong, but I preferred to be practical and be a little bit annoying, because now the king has to go there, and here I made my own inaccuracy before, or at least king e5, and you know, king e5 with the idea to play b4 at some point would be the best plan, but I chose the a4 plan, which is also good but not so winning. And my idea was, okay, his king is out of play, I have my weakness defended, and now that my rook is defended with the a4 pawn, I'm threatening to push c3 at some point. And if my king does ever get close to that setup, I should be winning on the spot. So I expected rook h5, which he didn't play, and my intention here was to push c3 first to force rook c5, and then go after that rook, something like, let's say, h4. Here he needs to keep the rook on this file, so something like this, and my idea was to play king up. Let's say he starts pushing, check, defend the pawn, and yeah, I don't know, something like this. This feels great for black. It feels really risky for white, but it's still not clear. I think the engine says white might hold here, but okay, this was my plan, something like that. But instead of rook h5, he played a very bad move here. He played rook d7. Okay, let's say a bad move, not a very bad move, but a bad move. Because now after my move, which was king e5, he cannot keep control over he has no access to c5 basically, so he can't attack this and control this at the same time. He's cutting my king, that's good for him, but at some point the rook will be required if I start pushing this pawn, and he played now, yes, a very bad move, rook to d2, going totally passive and inviting me to play c3, which I did. I can also bring the king, because I thought, I'm not sure because he didn't analyze the game after it, but I think his idea was something like rook b2, but rook b2 is not good for him, because my king is so close now. For example, if I go here and he goes rook b2, I can trade, play king d3, and he's not in time. Check. Well, actually here king d2, so he doesn't even he can't even push. He needs to play this first, and then if he pushes, I think I'm totally in time. This is checkmate in 3, right? And checkmate. So yeah, my king is so close that he can't even go for the rook trade. but c3 felt like a great move anyway, and he played rook c2, which is a bad move, but okay, he was already in bad shape. But yeah, this is yeah, it's obviously losing. Even if he tries this, I think he's not in time. I can play b4 already. Well, maybe I can reserve that move for later. Something like this, this, and yeah, let's say this, and now b4. Or not. Well, I'm not sure. I'm suddenly not sure how to convert this. I know it should be winning, but before to play this and this. Well, here I'm not sure. Even here I'm not sure because, well, maybe this is possible, but I'm not sure. And my idea is he cannot take my rook after something like this, but okay. I would need to calculate more. It would be at least more, it would be harder for me than in the game. But in the game, yeah, after rook c2, it was immediately over. So now my king entered, and yeah, I took here, cutting the counterplay, even though rook king c4 was already winning. G4, king b3, and here he played g5, and of course after this he resigned because, yeah, he's losing the rook and everything. There was a very nice idea here. For one glimpse, for one moment, I thought c2 would be a very nice finish, since after g6 I have the beautiful rook g2, but actually c2 leads to a draw after rook g3 check, and next move is king b2, so yeah. But yeah, rook a2 and c2, and he resigned, and yeah, I was lucky in a way, but also I worked hard trying to keep the game open and taking a lot of risks because I needed the win. So I'm kind of satisfied. I didn't commit any major mistakes, and it was a tough day anyway. Okay, that was my game of yesterday. Next week we're playing against a very strong team. We've already played against a team in first place. Next week we're playing against a team in third place, but they're tied with us in the second place actually. And hey Habins, thank you for the follow. And yeah, it's gonna be a really tough game, and we need to do our best if we want to win the league. So so next week I might not analyze a win, but I hope so. Anyway, that's it for this stream. That was the game. Now I'm going to, yeah, I need to do some stuff, but maybe later in the night I could stream some chess actually. Thank you for being there. Bye bye.